mental for Opale DCing. Ah, beaten. True, yeah. Who do I actually... Do I just cam 7 spectate? Is that the play? Just fly around the map and hope that I'm going to spectate someone that's not lagging. Okay, that's a respawn. Oh, car enjoyer. Maybe it's easier to see the front of the hitbox of this car, actually. Alright. Cruel. Opale has WR with a .390. Ramune has second world with a .393. There's 3,000ths in it on PBs on this map. But who is going to be more consistent? Ramune getting a more inside line to start off with. Opale a bit wider, will have a bit more exit speed going into the downhill. Ramune with airtime. Opale with a stronger SD. Ramune with a slight mistake. Will drop a couple of tenths behind. Opale cruising on some fast lines at the minute. He's got about half a second lead. Ramune with an unfortunate bonk. Will leave Opale up in front. Hiding pace. Hiding pace. I mean, driving 0.8, which is like half a second off WR with a massive bonk at the end. Sure. It's probably like 0.6 or something. True, yeah. Wait, is it actually? Wait, refreshing. Oh, Ramune does have a WR. Wait, what? Why is mine not up? Wait, my tabs haven't updated in like days. Lamau. Misinformation, that's my bad. Opale on this round has a 1.5 tenth lead. Hey, you have second, I didn't even realise. Oops. Oops. And this time Opale will cross the line with a 0.5. It's a solid time. Yeah, okay, so Ramune has a 0.35, Simon has a 0.36, Opale has a 0.39. So Ramune does actually have the pace advantage of about 400ths on PB. But I think, yeah, I don't know how much Opale has hunted this map. Last Opale PB was 9 days ago, so he's probably just been pracking for rounds. Although he's really inside here, will lose out by going wide, trying to carry some exit speed. But Ramune has got a nice inside line going into the end of the track. Almost nothing to separate the two drivers. Ramune goes a bit wider, hoping for more exit speed on the SD, and will get it. Opale getting a similar turnaround with a more inside line, better SD from the Frenchman, will take it by 11 thousandths. Very good round. Couple of 0.6s. But Opale keeping it clean. 3-0 currently on the scoreline. See if the Australian has an answer to the former Evo player. And so far, it looks like he has, and Opale with a slide out gifts the round to Ramune as long as Ramune keeps it clean and doesn't make a mistake himself. Just relaxing the last half of the run, aware of the mistake, I think. That makes it 3-1. Ramune getting a really good start, putting the pressure on Opale and forcing a mistake early on into the round. I don't know what even happens on this type of. Checking rulebook. Where's the rulebook? Yeah, I don't care about this. I need structure of play, player rules, toxic, technical issue. They permitted a technical timeout. I think it's just double DNF actually. Oh, okay, well we're starting again. Okay, I was tabbed out. Yeah, but I think the right thing was to DNF because it was an error which couldn't be helped. Oh, Opale, internet, please. Ramune with a really nice apex there. Holds the foot on the accelerator, keeps the car in the slide. Really close round between the two players. Ramune a bit further ahead. Opale with a more inside line. Opale with a better SD. But Ramune will take the round. Very close, 7 thousandths between the two players. 3-2. I don't even know how you lose a keycap in a match. That's got to be a new one. Unfortunately, Ramune going a bit too wide. Will lose 0.3 to Opale. Going into the downhill. Good turnaround from both the players, but Opale with almost half a second in hand should be able to close this one out. Opale on a really solid time as well. 0.0 checkpoints fast. 0.50, nice time. That's also true, Twyflin. I mean, he does tap pretty hard. I mean, it's kind of crazy. 4-2. Both players looking quite strong on this map. Ramune entering slightly wider, Opale slightly tighter, but it'll be Ramune who has the early lead of about a tenth. But Opale gets a slightly better turnaround, will close the gap, but goes wide. Gives Ramune a bit of a lead. Going into the last two turns, both players with a good entry. Looking for that exit SD. Opale has to release because he would have crashed the exit. But Ramune goes straight into the wall. And Opale has been gifted the round win. That's really unfortunate from Ramune. Like, absolutely their round win to have, but unfortunate mistake on the last turn is. Yeah, Opale will capitalise on that, make the scoreline 5-2. Very similar starts from both players this time round. Opale, though, I believe hit the checkpoint. Will somehow not lose that much time by some miracle. only a tenth behind. Ramune gets a really nice inside line, but will be very inside here. Forced to go a bit wider, but will carry a bit of speed. Not as much as Opale. Nothing to separate the two players again. Opale half a tenth ahead. Gets a really nice inside line and will close out the round. Slower pace than before, but I mean 0.8 is still a very impressive time, within half a second of world record. Map point in favour of Opale. And a good way to start off the round if he wants to try and do it on the first time. Gets a really good uphill as well. Extends the lead. But touches the inside of the turn. Just gives Ramune the lead of this round by about a tenth. And as long as Ramune keeps it clean to the finish, they'll take the round win 6-3. Come on, Opale, sort your incident out, please. Ramune with the early lead. Goes earlier on the overslide, which I'm not sure is the fast line. Haven't checked the world record ghost. But it seems to be paying off for them so far. So they have a 2/10 lead going into the last two turns. Opale going early inside will not be the way to take the turn. Ramune seems to be on a fast time. Drives a 0.5 of his own. Good driving from both players. Ramune trying to turn the momentum in their favour. So far, it seems to be going well. But that unfortunate mistake in the earlier round, giving that point to Opale, might come back to bite them. This time, players separated by less than a tenth. Ramune entering a bit more inside than Opale. Will have a different exit line going to the last turn, very equal between the two players. Opale pushes the inside, but Ramune won't be able to catch, and Opale will take map 1. On to map number 2. We've got Slinky by Mao and Hank. Maybe I should refresh the WRs and see if it actually changes. No. Opale has WR with a 48.665. Ramune is 4th with a 48.835. So there is 0.17 between PBs of these two players. But if what we've seen in the games that Jazz has played earlier today that I had the pleasure of watching, you're going to need to be driving 49 lows and even sometimes a 48 if you want to secure that round win. So Opale's map pick clearly feels confident here. Let's see what he can do. Slightly better start line from the Frenchman. A couple of tenths ahead of Ramune. Ramune with the lower line on the entries to this uphill though. Will gain a lot of time back on Opale. Keeps it out of the checkpoint. Opale with a wider line. All set up for a better SD exit. And Ramune slightly sideways on the road entry will lose gear. And it's close, but Opale will take the round with a 0.1 to kick things off. It's a good benchmark pace, 0.1. Fast enough to win most rounds, but we'll see if anyone drives a sub. And I have a feeling it's more a matter of when than a matter of if. Ramune with a bit of a lead this time round. Opale slightly behind, but with that touch on the inside from Ramune. They'll drop back a couple of tenths, and unfortunately dropping the tyre will not do them any benefits. Opale with about a second lead will be able to cruise this one back home. Time check at 0.2, so 0.1 to 0.2. Fast gameplay. Getting a 2-0 lead on map 2. Ramune very inside. Opale a bit more outside looking for that exit speed, and we'll get it. Around a tenth and a half ahead, 2 tenths even. And Opale will grow the gap as Ramune had to take some penalty snow on the apex of the uphill. Half a second going into the last 2 turns, as long as Opale keeps it on the track. I mean, he was on like 0.8. Yeah, but I mean, like, he had all the time in the world to do an extra rate up. That's not on me. That's not on me. He was greeding for that 0.8 or even a 0.7 that could have been, I reckon. Yeah, he was sending for an NT, which I respect. But you can't be giving a Ramune an inch. They will take the mile. This time though, with a bit of an awkward line out of the first turn, we'll give Opale the lead. Around a quarter of a second between the 2 players. Ramune with a good SD though is closing this gap. Again, quarter of a second going into the last 2 turns. Opale more inside this time, won't hit the same wall that he did last round. Keeps it out of the inside and will drive a 0.1. Very consistent, if not in a wall. 3-1. Going into the 5th round. Opale getting a bit of snow on the inside of that turn. Will lose a tenth to Ramune, but with a really nice second slide, closes the gap to under half a tenth. Looks like he gets a bit of airtime on the front wheels, will actually lose a bit to the Australian, who has a more inside setup here, might end up losing a bit of exit speed because of it, but stays ahead of Opale by just over a tenth. But an unfortunate slide out, knowing that Opale was so close behind, and that will cost the round. Unfortunate error. Uncharacteristic even. We've only seen 2 crashes on this map, in this match, and both of them have been on the second last slide. It's definitely where the difficulty spikes, paired with Gear 4 being less forgiving on releases and, yeah, adjustments. This time it's Opale with a strong start, about a quarter of a second ahead. The Ramune gets a really nice low line here. We'll try and carry as much speed into this uphill and close the gap, but has to adjust and will lose the gear because of it. And leave Opale with a 1.5 second lead. But anything can happen on the end of this map. Opale realizes the time gap he can safe. Doesn't look very safe to me, and there we go, it's a sub. Nice one. He's not getting an empty. Easiest sub. That's 5 round wins for Opale on his own map pick. Only needs 2 more to close out the match. But we definitely know that Ramune has the pace as long as they don't make the mistake. Very close between the 2 players yet again. Going into the downhill before the gear loss uphill. So Ramune with a bit of a lead. Gets less penalty snow as well, which is crucial for carrying speed out of the turn. Has a couple... a 1/10.5. Please. Something's going on. Yeah, 1/10.5 lead. Doesn't slide out that time. With a really nice line as well, actually. And gets around for themselves with a... Yeah, that's a nice time. 0.74 in rounds? That's a PB. A 3rd world time in match. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. 5-2. I think even if Ramune ends up losing, they can be proud in the fact that they've set some very strong times on both maps. Whereas, as well as a PB, unless they've offline pracked for this map. Which is really impressive. Definitely showing up to play against one of the pre-comp favourites. 3 thousandths between the 2 players. Ramune with a more inside line. Opale wider, but will carry more exit speed going into the second last turn. There's less than a 1/10 between them. Ramune goes for the more inside line, trying to gain an advantage on Opale. Sets up the last slide sooner, but it won't be enough. And that puts Opale on match point, 6-2. It's quite a surprising 6-2 as well. It's been, yeah, very close most rounds. Less than a couple of tenths between the 2 players if there hasn't been a mistake. But it seemed to just tip in the Frenchman's favour each time. Opale pushing that inside. Or maybe lose out on a bit of exit speed compared to Ramune. The gap is only a 1/10.5 going into the uphill. Though Opale will get less snow and will get a better SD as well. 2/10 lead going into the last Gear 4 section, the last 2 slides of the map. Ramune more inside, trying to push and close the gap, but Opale keeping it on the road. Will close it out with a 49.0. Ending off the second lap, 7-2. Very impressive performance by both players though. Opale managing to just be a bit more consistent, but Ramune with that pace, just, I mean, a .7 in rounds is really, really fast. Very impressive stuff.